Hi, I'm Mike Paul, and welcome to another episode of What's Up Wednesday, where we interview local entrepreneurs and learn more about their businesses and their journey through entrepreneurship. Today, I'd like to welcome our guest, Brandon Wright with Versatile Performance Training.
Mike, great to see you, man.
Great to
Good
see
afternoon.
you.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, then welcome to our studio today. And let me just give a little bit of background before we jump
Please.
into getting to know you a little bit better and learning about your business. As a veteran of Operation Iraqi Freedom and Global War on Terror, Brandon's military experience and dynamic training regimen consistently produces life-changing results for the individuals he works beside. First of all, Brandon, thank you for your service. Really appreciate everything that you've done.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
And let's get into it.
Please.
All right. So, first of all, let's get to know you a little bit better.
Sure.
So, tell us about your background.
Okay, well, as you mentioned, I was a military veteran, proud veteran, and I've spent 5 years in the military, did 3 tours, and in fact, the first time I got introduced to training was through one of my collateral duties was helping people that were unfortunately failed their PRT, and we called it Fat Camp, and they came and saw us, and we ensured that they were able to meet standards. Now, in doing so, I really enjoyed the fact of seeing people overcoming their obstacles, really improving, seeing how they felt, and what accomplishment they had afterwards. So I was just like, you know what, this is a really good fit for me. So that's kind of when the personal training fitness professional came into play.
So based on your military experience,
Sure.
You decided that you were going to get into personal fitness training. How did you decide? What went through your mind in forming your own company, forming your own personal training business? What was involved with that?
Absolutely. Well, that's a great question. Well, I trained out of a facility for 8.5 years, and in doing so, the number one obstacle, it was unanimously with all my clients. They said, Brandon, if I could just get here. The number one thing that really held them up, they said, once I'm in the door, I'm fine. It's just getting here. So after a while, I was like, you know what? I can fix this problem. So coming to you and bringing it to you, you're much more likely to achieve your goals and comply with it.
Having been someone that's gone to the gym for decades and decades, that's the challenge sometimes, getting
Absolutely.
yourself out to the gym. So in this case, you're bringing the gym to them.
Absolutely.
And so that takes away that reluctance.
And I understand too, I'm a father, and I understand life happens and things come up. So if I take that excuse away from you, you just see that much more results.
So let's talk a little bit about the why. Sometimes, we always talk about how people do business and what they do in business, but let's explore a little bit about the why.
Sure.
So really, what was the underlying reason of why you wanted to get into this industry and do what you're doing now?
Right. Well, as we know, it doesn't take much to look around and see that, we have a very unhealthy population. And I wanted to make, it's fighting the good fight. I wanted to make a difference. Like I said, I haven't worked in 13 years. I really, really enjoy what I do. I enjoy the people I work with. And it's something that's natural placed in my skill sets, and it's very rewarding work. Because yes, I'm a fitness professional. Yes, I'm in the fitness industry, but we're in the relationship business. And I've been very fortunate to have clients for over 10 years now. So, they're family at this point.
So that leads me into one of my questions as to who's your typical client?
Sure.
What type, in the community, what type of individuals would seek out your services?
Well, it's a wide range. I have a pretty good mix between 50-50 between male and female. That's always kind of the way it's been. Generally, they're pretty motivated, athletic. A lot of them are, former collegiate athletes, former professional athletes, whether it be recreational athletes. I work with a lot of youth. So I have a good variety in there, and that keeps everything fun and keeps it interesting for me.
And when you start off with a client, describe the process. Is there do you start with like a consulting session to get to know what their specific needs are, or how does that work with your training program?
Absolutely. Well, as you mentioned, we do a consultation, so I'll meet up with the client at their home usually, or a place of business or something like that. And we'll go over there and get to know them one-on-one, kind of build that rapport, kind of find out exactly what they're looking for, what they've done in the past, if anything, what has worked, what hasn't, and then we formulate a plan right there. I basically more or less describe them Beforehand, I really recommend them to my website so that way they can see firsthand kind of what the training experience is going to be. And we formulate a plan and get it going from there.
And so there's a lot of different options, obviously, for people out there to get involved with fitness training.
Sure.
A lot of specialty fitness trainers, gyms, different facilities.
Absolutely.
What makes you different, Brandon? Tell us about, when you formed Versatile Performance Training, what did you, where is that value added come in, and what is the uniqueness of what you do in particular?
Great question. Well, really, it's I maximize your most valuable commodity, and that's time. Most people, especially the people that I work, a lot of them are professionals, CEOs, C-suite executives, and they're very, very conscientious of their time. And it's the efficacy of it, the results that you get from it are much, much more. You have anonymity at the house. It's much more comfortable environment. Some people are very anxious about getting in a gym facility, being around others, being watched, being judged. So, and you don't have to worry about competing over equipment or waiting on people. So it's really, it's the relationship that I build. It's really, I think that's the biggest differentiating factor is really, I'm not treating people like a number. It's not just getting people through the door. And it's that one-on-one attention. I coined the term concierge fitness. So it's your time specifically set to you, and we make sure we get what you want.
How long is a typical fitness session?
Most of my sessions are 1 hour, but I do have clients that do 30 minutes.
And does the client provide their own equipment, or do you bring the equipment to them?
Well, for most clients, I bring all the equipment. I'm completely outfitted. So I have a complete gym that I bring to you. I do have clients that have gyms in their home, or they'll have a garage gym. So they'll have a few equipment. They'll have row machines. They'll have treadmills. So we work, I add what I have in with theirs, and it's worked out great so far.
Now, you mentioned that you have a pretty wide variety of clientele, from young, to older. And is it all in-person training, or I believe you also are involved with some virtual training programs
Absolutely.
as well.
Absolutely.
Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah. Well, COVID really launched that in making the adjustments and having to make the pivot during the COVID when everything shut down, especially for the first month that we were kind of in shelter. I saw that coming, so I started with her, and I had a lot of previous clients that moved out of state reach out to me. I have 2 clients currently in California, and I have one in Denver, Colorado right now that I'm still working with. And they had reached out and said, hey, listen, what can you do for me, Brandon? Can you get me on the schedule? I was like, absolutely. So the live virtual, I didn't want to do a recording. I wanted the live interaction. And with technology nowadays, with all the social media, the different platforms, Zoom, Google Hangout, I was able to do it very seamlessly.
Wow.
So not only are we doing the one-on-one personal sessions, group training, and we're doing the live virtual sessions as well.
So if you would describe what a typical day for Brandon looks like. I mean, when you've got a variety of types of clients,
Sure.
types of service, a different variety of type of services that you provide, what would be a typical day for you?
Well, a typical day, I would say anywhere from, I'm usually training 6 to 8 clients a day. They're all within the Western Travis County. It's a pretty tight geographical area, and that was deliberate. So I'm anywhere from Lakeway to Westlake to Spicewood to Bee Cave, in my home in Steiner. So it's really been enjoyable. It's a lot of clients. I have a lot of clients that are in the same neighborhoods. So a lot of times I'm just driving down the street to go to the next client.
So how do you get your clients? What method do you use as you've been building your business here over the last number of years? Typically, how do you find your clients, or they find you to engage your services?
Well, I've been very fortunate, Mike. So far, the overall majority has been word of mouth. Personal recommendations. A lot of times when I'm training clients out at their house or whatever, a neighbor will come by. We had one gentleman that lived in the neighborhood, was driving by, saw what was going on, pulled in, and I gave him my card, kind of gave him a quick spill, whatever. He's like, man, this is awesome, this is fantastic. And set up the consultation, and away we went.
All right, so you got them to jump right in and say, hey, we've got the equipment in here.
It's like, hey, man, here it is.
It's it. Let's
Absolutely.
get started.
Absolutely. You can have this too.
No way. So I wanted to jump a little bit into the entrepreneurship part of this.
Absolutely.
You know, what gives you motivation? So when you get up in the morning and you've got 8 to 10 clients that you're going to be servicing, I mean, how do you stay motivated in doing what you do?
Well, Mike, it's the fighting the good fight. I think what I'm doing is really making a difference in people's lives. And again, I love the people that I work with. I couldn't ask for a better group of people. I mean, it's again, a lot of them are extended family at this point. So to have those type of relationships, and there are days where you're like, you think you're ice skating uphill, or, it's been a long day, it's been a 12, 15-hour day, but that's what ultimately motivates me.
So, Brandon, what has been your most satisfying moment since you started your business? I mean, is there a single thing that you can think of that would be, hey, this was the most satisfying aspect to the business that you created?
Absolutely. I know the exact moment too. There was a young man that I was working with. He's a senior in high school at the time. I won't put his name out there, but he was about to go to college, and he was severely overweight, really, really kind of introverted, very shy, just having a hard time. I think he was being teased because, he was overweight and what have you. So his parents came to me and said, help me, please, help my son. So I said, gladly, I'll be more than happy. Like the first month when I trained him, he didn't say one word to me. Made for a long hour. So I'm constantly trying to build rapport, find things that he was interested. Well, I found he was really big into music and theater. So I'm like, all right, I have our one thing. So kind of building rapport, and after a month, he just opened up. So he goes off to college. We trained for about 8 months before he went off to college. So he goes off, a few years had passed. And I'm at work, and I hear, hey, Brandon. And I turn around, and I'm looking, and I was just like, no way. And here's this confident man standing there, fit, slim, smile from ear to ear. And he was just smiling at me. He goes, do you remember me? And I said, absolutely. Walked up, gave him a hug, and he thanked me. He goes, you changed my life. Wow. So I was like, that's it. Those moments right there, Mike, is exactly why I do what I do.
That's a great story.
It's a great feeling.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I give him all the credit. I was lucky just to be a part of it.
So let me kind of flip to talk a little bit about the challenges of running your own business.
Sure.
So if you had to think back of what might be your biggest challenge to date so far since you started your business, what would that be?
Biggest challenge, I would have to say, well, since the inception, the business has kind of been lightning in a bottle. So it's keeping up with the growth and keeping up with the demand. You kind of get in the minutia and whatever. And when you get caught up in that, it's very easy to make mistakes. It's very easy to want to cut corners and neglect certain things. And I've been very, very adamant about, again, quality over quantity. I really want to give the last client of the day deserves the exact same service as the first one. And I never compromise that. And especially for my legacy clients, ones that I've had for a very long time, I told them to this day, I always tell them I appreciate your business. I never expect it. I want to earn it every day. So really keeping up with the pace of growth, the media, coming and doing this is something that's new. I found out that I really enjoy it. It's not nearly as terrifying as everybody makes it out to be. But yeah, this has definitely been new for me as well, but it's been a great change.
Right, that's fantastic. And when you're not busy helping out your clients and improving their health, and I just love the story that you shared with that individual. What gives you joy, Brandon? What do you do when you're not working?
Well, I'm a very active person myself. I got to be the message that I bring, so I'm always finding ways to kick my own butt. Very active in the outdoors, of course, with fitness. I have 2 beautiful daughters that I really that love being a dad, being there for them, spending time with friends and family, and just getting the max out of life. Yeah, absolutely.
So, how long ago did you start your business?
2019.
2019.
Yes.
Oh, okay. And if you had to look forward, it's been an interesting 2 or 3 years. I'm certain that in 2019, I know that very few people anticipated what what
Yes.
2020 and
Yes.
2020 were going to be like. And it sounds like that actually you were able to pivot. When business became a challenge, or people didn't want to come out, they didn't want to go to the gym. Gyms
Right.
were closed. I know my gym was closed.
Mm-hmm.
It was really tough to go out if I didn't have equipment, to keep my level of fitness up. So, how did you address those challenges during those first couple of years? I mean, when 2020 took hold and we realized that we were all going to be kind of locked up for a while
Right.
here. I mean, what did you do with the business, or how did you address? Okay, I've got a fairly new business, and your business model, as you've indicated, is to go out and meet the clients.
Absolutely.
So, what went through your mind in terms of, okay, what do I need to be doing here to change my approach of how I can develop my business?
Absolutely. Well, in the midst of COVID, I knew that how unfortunate the circumstance was, this was going to play into what I do perfectly. So more or less, it was more doubling down and really getting awareness out that there was someone out there like me doing something like this. And when I did, it was just like, come on, man. So, I mean, it was really making that type of preparation. I kind of saw it coming. If I do anything well, Mike, it's optimization and anticipation. So I kind of saw the trend coming. What do I need to do? I knew a lot of clients were probably not going to be comfortable with having somebody in the house, at least in the short interim. So that's when the virtual really came in, and people were like, "That's fantastic."
And I know, Brendan, you've done a lot of training outdoors too.
Yes.
I know just in our relationship, my experience with you over the last year or two.
Uh-huh.
I know you've taught, you've had some of your clients swimming out in their backyards.
Absolutely.
Doing
Absolutely.
training with that. I think you've set up in garages and
Yes.
carports and pads, wherever the space is that you have access to. So I would assume that also helped in that you were able to do a lot of your things outdoors as well.
Absolutely. Yeah, you were able to social distance and whatever. That's a very good point.
Yeah.
So yeah, basically what I like to do is leverage what's already there. Most people have a pool. Most people have garages or a designated area where I could work. And as long as you bring the equipment, it's game on.
Yeah. So let's take out our crystal ball a little bit and kind of
Please.
look ahead.
Okay.
We've gone through you've gone through the first few years of developing your
Yes.
business. If you could look forward the next 3 to 5 years, what would you like to be doing with your company? I mean, what direction do you see your business going in the next few years?
Great question. Well, in the next 5 to 10 years, we're definitely making a shift more to online because that's really the scalable model to really work. I never want to lose the one-on-one private sessions. I mean, to have that type of relationship and connection is great, but we're really taking a focus to going online, whether it be workouts for purchase, subscription-based models. You can reach much more people online that way. So that's really what we're focusing on. Possibly a book deal. A lot of things working. A lot of irons in the fire, so to speak.
And what I mean, just along the way, I mean, what are some of what are some of the lessons learned? I know that a lot of our viewers who are in business for themselves, they know that being an entrepreneur is exciting. It also can be challenging.
Absolutely.
In that usually the unexpected is the norm.
Yeah.
And I think we found
Get comfortable with being uncomfortable, right?
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, do you have any advice for someone that was looking to get into business for themselves in a service type industry of yours? I mean, what advice would you have that you've learned along the way as when you developed your business?
Sure. Well, it's like the old adage. When I was working for somebody, it was 9 to 5. When I was working for myself, it's 24/7. So you got to be prepared to put in the time, because at the end of the day, it's all on you. So you really have to, and this is an old cliche, but you got to love what you do. You got to be passionate about what you do. because that's what's, when you've worked that 15, 16, 17-hour day and you don't want to get up the next morning, it's that passion and really that drive that will drive you in the long run. It'll sustain you through all the hard times.
So Brandon, I want to give you the opportunity to add anything else that you think is important that you would like our viewers to know about you or about your business that maybe we didn't get the opportunity to cover here today.
Sure. Well, this is one thing I'll say, given the current times, is really if anybody could take anything from what I'm doing or from this interview, is really covet your health. Really make health and wellness a priority in your life. If COVID has taught us anything, is nobody appreciates their health till they lose it. And I'm sure we've all had somebody, a friend, a family member, maybe ourselves, that have been touched by this. So, I'm out there every day, fighting the good fight. It's much easier to be preventative than it is, or proactive versus reactive.
Yeah. Well, Brandon, listen, thank you so much for coming in.
Oh, thank you, Mike.
Coming in today. It's great to hear about your journey through your business and some of the successes that you've had. And I wish you lots of luck as you continue on that path.
Thank you so
of
much.
Developing your business and helping out so many in the community that really do need that extra motivation and push, to get the best possible health. And I know you're going to be out there doing that 100%. So thank you again for everything
Mike.
that you're doing, and best wishes for your continued success.
Hey, same to you.